Hey everyone, Foxlive here, and today we're going to be going over days 7 through 13 of Inktober. Pretty cool. A full week this week. So the prompts for this week were Bubbling Cauldron, Curious Cat, Winged Bat, Jangly Skeleton, Murmuring Mothman, Interesting Insect, and Glowing Ghost. Some other things to note about this week is this is the paper I've been using. I'm out. I used the last one on today's prompt. So the rest of Inktober we'll be using this one instead. It's a little different, not quite as textured, so it could work. And for a few of them, I didn't do any color because why did I do that? I didn't do any color because it felt like it wouldn't fit as well, and I think it's been turning out fine. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the drawings. The prompt for day 7 of Inktober was Bubbling Cauldron, and what I decided to do for this, well, I had a few options. The first thumbnail I did was like a witch facing away from camera, stirring a cauldron with Louise watching her. And then the second one was just Louise literally bathing in a boiling cauldron because ghost shenanigans. And it would be like a shelf full of miscellaneous things behind her. And then the third one has Louise just looking into a cauldron. Wait, is it? Okay, I think it's either her looking into a cauldron or she's legit taking a bath again. The fourth one is definitely Louise looking into a cauldron. She's like trying to peek at it and maybe take a drink. The fifth one is a repeat of the first one, kinda, in a way. It has a witch stirring the cauldron, and Louise is an assistant this time, bringing in an ingredient to help her. And then the sixth one is Louise peeking into a cauldron, and there's a whole bunch of stuff everywhere, and it's really bubbling, and there's just bubbles everywhere. The two I ended up making a larger version of are the witch one and Louise peeking her head in, and I ended up going with Louise peeking her head into the cauldron, because I thought it'd be fun. Also, I gave Louise a like tattered witch hat instead of a normal one, and she's like got a whole bunch of potion stains because she's not very careful as a ghost, and she lives in a cloth, so not exactly the best, most stain-proof item. And it's an old witch hat that she found. So it's all tattered and torn. She tried to sew it up the best she could, but she tried. Day 8 of Inktober was Curious Cat. That was the prompt. Somebody suggested doing a slug cat as the Curious Cat, and I thought it was a really good idea. So, the first thumbnail I made had a slug cat lifting up a rock to find an insect. And yeah. From the start, I really thought it'd be a good idea to have like Hunter as the one I wanted to use. And it seems to work out pretty well for most of them. The second thumbnail is a slug cat looking up towards some echo flakes. And the implication is that they're not sure what they are, so they're gonna follow it and be curious. Not sure how well it gets across the point. Luis was definitely an afterthought in these pictures. The third is a slug cat investigating a pearl, and also Luis is investigating a pearl as well, which I thought was pretty cool. And then the fourth thumbnail had Rivulet visiting Moon, and Moon has like a stack of pearls behind her, and Rivulet keeps wanting Moon to explain different pearls it finds. And then there's an overseer in the background displaying Luis, because Luis is an interesting subject, according to iterators. The fifth one is Hunter again, finding a couple of insects, and these insects are the knight and hornet, respectively. And then the sixth thumbnail is a slug cat finding 5 pebbles, and just being like all in awe about 5 pebbles' existence. Like, just like, oh my gosh, what are you? The two I went with for the big versions were Hunter and the in-awe slug cat. So the Hunter and the 2 Hollow Knight characters, and then the slug cat that's in awe. And the final one that I went with was Hunter finding the knight and hornet underneath a rock. Lisa's just kind of hanging out in the background, being checked out by an overseer. I changed this one quite a bit from the initial sketch. Also, I'm not very happy with this one. Proportions are all off, and it just wasn't exactly vibing. I also... It just wasn't really working that well, so I tried my best to make it look okay. I think it looks okay in the end. Just not a good day, and nothing was really working. So the Hunter's just picking up a rock and finding the knight underneath it instead of both the knight and hornet. Yeah, I think it just wasn't working that well today, because Lisa's just sitting there with a marker in her hand. And she drew cat whiskers on her face and gave herself a headband with cat ears. There's a lot of headbands with ears on them this week, unfortunately. Day 9 of Inktober was, the prompt was Winged Bat. This one was really fun to do, honestly. I do like some of the more realistic, like, cross-hatching, and I do like drawing bats. The first thumbnail I did was Luis watching a bat sleep on a branch. It's adorable, honestly. The second thumbnail was just a bat flying through the air. Because winged bat, I kind of want to show off the wings. Luis is flying next to him. The third one is eating a strawberry or a piece of fruit, and Luis also eating a strawberry. That thought didn't even get fully finished. And then I started looking at a couple reference photos. So the fourth one is a fruit bat eating an orange, and Luis is holding a watermelon, which is kind of adorable. And then the fifth one is Luis sitting there with some bats flying around her. Kind of like the sharp teeth thumbnail, but, you know, actually relevant. And then the sixth drawing is Luis and a bat just hanging out upside down, watching each other. The two I decided to make bigger versions of were the bat eating an orange and Luis being surrounded by bats. She actually looks really cute in this one, but ended up going with the bat eating an orange. I thought I could just do more of that, and it turned out pretty well. The camera died like halfway through the freaking drawing though, so I think I lost probably a couple minutes worth of footage. Unfortunately, it was during the shading part, so nothing too much got skipped. I hope. But this was a lot of fun to do. Luis in general, I kind of gave her, like, again, headband with bat ears, and then, like, she sewed bat wings onto her the arm parts of her sheet. It's kind of cute. Not super well done here, but kind of, it's a cute idea. So day 10's prompt was Jangly Skeleton. The first thumbnail I did had Luis kinda like puppeteering a random skeleton. I didn't really feel it, so kinda rushed through it to get to the next one. The second thumbnail is a dilapidated skeletal corpse hanging from a, like, chained up and hanging from a wall. And Luis is just kind of checking on him and accidentally let one of his arms go and it died. The third one is another dilapidated corpse. It's like a completely collapsed skeletal corpse, kind of realistic. I like that one. The third one is Luis messing with a third. The fourth thumbnail is Luis messing with a buried skeleton. She accidentally pulled the arm off. The fifth thumbnail is Luis messing with a skeleton Shakespeare style, and the arm's just kind of there, like she's investigating a corpse, committing grave robbery and crimes. And then the sixth one is another puppeteer one, because I wanted to make it work. Not entirely sure how to make it work still, but I tried. The two thumbnails I chose to elaborate on were the Shakespeare-esque head situation and the puppeteering the skeleton. I ended up putting a lot more detail into them, but I ended up going with the Shakespearean head hold, because I just didn't want to draw a whole skeleton and a rib cage, and I didn't want to draw a skeleton. This is another one of those where it didn't turn out as well as the sketch did, which I'm a little upset about. And I wasn't really sure how to make a ghost dress up as a skeleton, because I didn't want to just put a rib cage on the sheet. That feels like a cop-out. So instead I copped out, and I wanted to put a kind of like Mardi Gras-esque mask on Luis. It didn't really work, so I ended up just putting a skeleton mask on her head. Like, it's just lifted up so you can see her face. It's got a hole and such, and it curves a little bit, and then she's got little shoulder pads sometimes. Honestly, my favorite part about this drawing is the bricks. I accidentally used a water-based marker instead of a pen for my colored one on this one. It was gray, so I just kind of wanted to use it as a pen. Still ink, technically. So I think it still counts as Inktober stuff. Shenanigans. Day 11's prompt was Murmuring Mothman. And the first thumbnail I did was him hanging out on a kind of like little suspension cable for a bridge. Yeah, Louise wasn't even a thought anywhere. I do not even remember if I put her in the drawing. But the second thumbnail was just him sitting. That's it. He just sat there menacingly with the wings down. Third one was him like flying next to the moon. Him in the air being all menacing. And then the fourth thumbnail was he was holding a flower of some form. It does not really look like a flower, but holding a flower of some form and just kind of being, again, broody and menacing. I don't know what the fifth thumbnail is because it looks like he's doing a pose. Is this a cool pose? Is this just bug? Did I just make moth? Probably just moth. And then the sixth one is a cool pose on the edge of a building. Instead of just like designing an outfit for Louise this time, I decided to just do minor character design. I cannot draw people at the moment, but decided to do some minor character design. I also drew Louise, a very small version of Louise. Just gave her an antenna with some moth antenna and some moth wings, like a cloak of some form. But I did make a Mothman-esque design that changed significantly in like 30 seconds. And then the two final thumbnails that I did were I expanded on him just sitting down. I made it so it was like coming out of a cocoon or something, like it just metamorphosized. Because I don't know what the cryptid lore is, honestly. It looked cool, so I went with it. And then a bigger version of him just hanging out on a suspension cable. I thought the like lore implications for the top one, for the cocoon one, were kind of cool. So I decided to work with that, and I thought, hey, this could be an opportunity for some really cool shading, and it was. I had a lot of fun with the shading, honestly. And I'm not doing the penciling on camera anymore because I'm doing sketches in my sketchbook. So I'm kind of tracing my sketches onto paper, and then I'm doing any touch-ups with pencil before I start inking on camera. It's gonna be easier, faster, and more convenient if I do it that way. Day 12's prompt was interesting insect. Now, the first thumbnail I did, I decided to do a praying mantis on a stick, and Luis is just kind of in the background watching it with a worm on her head. I don't know why I put a worm on her head, honestly, but it stayed, as you can see. There's also a little stick bug in the bottom left corner. I wanted to focus on doing stick bugs and mantises because I thought they were pretty cool. While looking up pictures of bugs, I found this really cool bug that I used for the second thumbnail. I do not have a picture, but it's just this little weird giraffe looking boy. I did a little doodle of Luis holding a couple of those guys and moved on pretty quickly. The third thumbnail is some more sticks, some more stick bugs, some more mantises, and some worms, or caterpillars. This time, it's caterpillars. Luis is holding a stick bug, and there's a stick bug in the branches above her, and there's a mantis on the stick right next to her as well, and then there's some caterpillars on the leaves in the foreground. And then the fourth thumbnail has Luis on the bottom, just kind of chilling with some millipedes on her head, and then a mantis and a stick bug above her. And then I kind of put a little moth on there too, but you can't really see it. And I didn't end up putting in the final drawing. Then the fifth one is Luis strolling through with some worms on her, passing a stick bug and a praying mantis. And then the sixth one is pretty much the same thing, but with more stick bugs. I really stuck to a theme this time. The two I expanded on were the one with her head on the bottom and the bugs above her, and then the one where she's just kind of checking out stick bug on her arm. I decided to go with like she's holding the bottom of the paper, kind of like poking her head up like a dog. I went with that one because I thought it would be fun. I kept it a little simpler than usual, but that's okay. It was fun to do. And then for her little design, I just put a headband with some insect antennas on it. And it turned out pretty good. I like how simple it was. Day 13, the prompt was glowing ghost, which is pretty easy, being that I've got a ghost character I've been theming throughout this entire thing, so it's just Luis hanging out. The first thumbnail I did gave her a friend that I put like a double sheet on, and they're just kind of floating together in blank space. The second thumbnail, I gave her friend a hat, and she's investigating some mushrooms. Yeah, mushrooms. The third one just has her kind of floating there with some mushrooms, and I gave her a little tail this time to really emphasize the ghostiness. And there's some branches above her head with some leaves falling. The fourth thumbnail, I brought her friend back, and there's some branches this time, and I went to do a more angled version where it's like them both kind of hanging out as if they were like hanging out in grass or something. It didn't work very well, but it's fine. And then the fourth one, I had her kind of just like investigating the branches, and there's some flowers in front I thought would be cool for her to illuminate because glowing ghost. And that's in the recording now. And the sixth thumbnail is her and her friend again, relaxing in a tree. And there's a whole bunch of leaves in the bottom right corner, and then there's a bunch of branches. The two I elaborated on were the one with her just kind of floating in the middle, surrounded by mushrooms and branches, and then the one where she's like just kind of looking around. And there's some bushes beneath her and some branches above her. That's the one I ended up going with. I think I made it a little darker than it needed to be. You have a hard time distinguishing the bushes from everything else. But I'm not entirely sure how to make her like seem glowy without doing that. And then for her design, I gave her a tail. I don't know, I wasn't really sure how to change her design without, because she's already ghost. So there's that. Just wasn't really sure what to do about that one. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like the video and let me know what you think of it and what you'd like to see next. I hope everyone has a good day. Bye!